I'm homesick. I did some math. Let's look at Ironjawz health comparison. But of course, first I need to thank all my patrons, Wybarian for the art for the channel, and Baron of Dice. Use code MDG at checkout to get 5% off your dice. Get some orc dice. Why not? Cool. So here's how my math worked. So of course that's going to be the most important thing. All the numbers depend on how I arrived at them. So if we have a unit of Ardboys together, they have 20 health. Their save is a 3-up save, which means that on a 6-sided die, there are 2 fail conditions for my failed save. If I roll a 1 or if I roll a 2, there are 2 failed conditions, assuming that there's 0 rend or my opponent has 1 rend and I have all out defense, which means that my opponent is going to have to deal 3 times my health to actually kill me. So 3 times 20 health, which means 60, which means my opponent is going to have to hit me for 60, 1 damage, 0 rend attacks to kill a unit of Ardboys. Because like I said, 2/3 are going to be saved away, which leaves me with 20 damage, which kills the unit. So this is assuming I'm saving on my save with no rend. So if I'm getting, so like for example, if I don't all out attack if I don't all out defense my Ardboys, and my opponent has 1 rend, I'm saving on force, which means that my opponent has to do 40 1 damage attacks at me to actually kill me. If that does, I hope that makes sense, because it's how I did it. So I hope that makes sense. Cool. So then we compare this with wards. We do the same thing with wards, right? There's like another filter that happens afterwards with wards. And then we then do a division, like how many points the unit is worth, and then we get a health per point is how I did it. Okay, so if we're looking at, and all my math is here. If you want to come look at these tables, you're more than welcome to. Just hit me up in the Discord. Okay, so who are our most healthy, hard to kill units in the game? Ardboys. That's not right. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so are you shocked to find out that it's the Ardboys at 0.33 health per point? It's a lot, right? And with Weird Fist, they go up to 0.4, which is the highest in Ironjawz or in Cruel Boys. Obviously, right? Ardboys are the tankiest boys. Makes total sense. So besides that, brutes. So if we're looking at with or without Weird Fist, it makes a little bit of a difference. But brutes are coming in at 0.23, which is really good, right? Brutes are 15 wounds on a 3-up save, and with Weird Fist, they get a little bit of a ward, so that's quite good. Ragers go down quite a bit. 0.11, of course, they are on a 5-up save with no ward, so 0.11 is not great. With Weird Fist, it goes up a little bit, but I think with Ragers, you're not going to be relying on Weird Fist because you don't have, they're hard to keep in range because of how quickly they go. So when they're running and charging and getting into fight, it's going to make a difference. The thing with Ragers, though, is that they do have Strike First, which means whatever's clapping back at them is going to be, hopefully, at least weakened by the time, that Ragers get a chance to fight. Rekka's 0.2. This is just because they have that built-in ward, right? And they don't benefit from Weird Fist at all. So, but 0.2 is pretty good. Gruntas. Here's another good one. So this is why Gore Gruntas are good, and this is their role. They're 15 wounds on a 3-up save, just like Brutes, but they're cheap. They're $1.80. So they're more survivable for their points than Brutes are, right? Not compared to Ardboys or whatever, right? But for their points, and they're fast. So they're the second most survivable thing. Yeah, they're the second most survivable thing in our book by quite a bit. And their damage isn't very high, but they're pretty survivable, especially with tricks like pulling them out of combat and then Mighty Destroyersing them into combat, right? Like they very much are this. They very much are 15 wounds on a 3-up save. That's pretty fast. So that's pretty good. If we're talking about the big pigs, the Hacking Crew, the Tusk Boss, and the Gouger, the Tusk Boss is the most survivable one by by a little bit, right? Because he does save on a 3-up with 14 wounds. So that's pretty good. I think there's also a way you can give him a heroic thing, a heroic trait to give him a 6-up ward too. But I doubt that that's something that we want to be doing. No, it's an artifact of power, right? Armor of Gork. But I'd rather give him 10 extra control personally than give him a 6-up ward. Yeah, and then the Hack and Crew is the next most survivable, right? Because we just have a 3-up save here, right? And the Gouger is the worst because it has a 5-up, or it has a 4-up save, right? So the difference between a 4-up save and a 3-up save is quite significant, right? It's half versus a third. It's quite significant. Maw Crusher is a little bit less survivable than Gordrak, who's about as survivable as the Tusk boss. But the difference between Gordrak and the Tusk boss, if we actually look at how much damage they do, is that the Tusk boss is dealing like 3.5 to 5.5 damage per 100 point, and the Maw Crusher is quite a bit behind. Yeah, like the Maw Crusher is going to deal just as much damage as the Tusk boss, but if the Tusk boss has any momentum, you know, he's going to get out damaged. So, yeah. And he's also he can actually fit through tight spaces and not get stuck on everything forever and ever and ever. Yeah, not fantastic. Kragnos is the least. No, he's not the least. Rekkas have pretty low, and Ragers have pretty low health per 100 points. But Kragnos is behind, right? So, like, quite a bit softer than even the Grunta. Right, like 0.05 than even the... No, sorry, a little bit worse than the Gouger. But still not very survivable. Right? Not very survivable, even with that 5-up ward. Even with that 5-up ward. And then, yeah, the foot heroes are not very survivable, as you would think. The most survivable is the Ardboy boss. The Mega Boss is too expensive. He's overall has more health to him, right? Like 8 wounds on a 3-up save. He can get that 6-up ward from Weird Fist. So the Ardboy boss is your most survivable per 100 points, but the Mega Boss is the most survivable overall. Right? Most survivable overall. Yeah, I mean, Kragnos and a Maw Crusher are... Nope. Gordrak is technically the most survivable overall, but not for his points. Right? Gruntas are pretty survivable overall and very survivable for their points. Yeah. Ardboys and Brutes. So if you wanted to make a list that was just the most health per points, if that's what you wanted to do, you would probably play Weird Fist. You'd play lots of Ardboys, lots of Brutes, and lots of Gruntas. And if you'd probably take like a Tusk boss, if you wanted to just be super, if you wanted like a Cavalry hero to take more Cavalry units with. But yeah, let me know what you think. Does my math make sense? Obviously Ardboys are the tankiest, right? Like obviously they're the tankiest. No surprise there. So let me know what you think. Another great thing I really like about these tables is that if the points change, all my math just changes. I don't have to do any crazy stuff with it, right? If the war scrolls change, then obviously everything changes. But I got formulas in here, so if things change, I just come in and tippity tap, change them up, and it's all good. Like, subscribe, wah.